Hi everyone, my name is Terri and welcome to my channel, The Pink Dumbbell Problem, and a new episode in my Friday Fact Day series where I get to talk about my work in fitness, feminism, and philosophy. And today's fact is representation matters. And that's a common phrase in leftist discourse in politics, especially in feminist politics and philosophy for a long time. I think I need to unpack that for folks a little bit though. So I had an interesting opportunity, shall we say, this past week. And a few weeks ago, a few months ago now, really, there was an inquiry that came in through my work channels and my day job as a fitness instructor and somebody who coordinates things in the local fitness industry. It was an inquiry about a new fitness program, and it's something that's been around for a few years now in another part of Canada, not here in Nova Scotia. The idea was to give specialized exercise training to people who are seniors who have some special physical concerns that have come with their age. Feedback from the initial group that was around the table when this project was created was that seniors don't want young people, I believe the actual phrase was young people in their spandex tights, coming in to teach them. They want peers. So the idea behind this program was that seniors who wanted to volunteer their time would be trained specifically on teaching these exercises to their fellow seniors. Myself and a colleague discussed this at quite a bit of length when it was first run past us, and we said absolutely no. I mean, that was my gut instinct, but quite often in any teaching sort of situation, you go to a colleague and say, how do you read this? And we came out of this with the same conclusion, and the conclusion was heck no. And there was a number of red flags, things around the business model, things around the branding, that kind of stuff. But the big thing is that the people who are actually going to be teaching the exercise programs to actual seniors, the sneakers on the floor people, weren't going to get paid. They were going to have to volunteer their time. So earlier this week, I had a chat with somebody who found out that through channels, because it's a small industry, that I really did not want to have anything to do with this program. She really thought she had a super solid program here because when this idea was created and this format for exercise was created, there were quote unquote seniors at the table. And sure, there were seniors at the table. The idea that she was working on was that, and granted, this person wasn't there from the original inception of this program, so fair enough to her. But the idea she was working on was that representation happened, therefore all good. Let's move on. And that was not the case. This person was she was calling me with the idea that I had some kind of problem with the pedagogical side of this, which is fair enough. I mean, that is my actual original background. But I never even saw the pedagogical content. I never saw the actual fitness content that was being delivered. I never got to that far with it. And I suspect maybe that's arguments that she's had to have with other people who were kind of on the fence or a dead no on supporting this program. And she was pretty surprised when I stopped her and said, the problem is that you're making seniors volunteer. I did a video several months ago, over a year ago now. Yeah, well over a year, I'm sure, on intersectionality. I'll find that. I'll put a link down below. It was one of the earliest ones on my channel, way back. So have a look at that. It's got sort of a basic definition of what intersectionality is. This was a perfect example, and I'm using this as what we call a teachable moment. So in education, you plan your lesson plans, but sometimes something comes up in the conversation, something comes up in the discourse, whatever, and you use that to illustrate another concept. By the way, this is getting into a little bit about tokenism. As I always do, note to self, I have to make a video about tokenism someday. It's an important concept. It's helpful for you to know what it is. As it turned out, the seniors who were at the table were all completely able-bodied. They were all white. They were all hetero. They were all married, and they were mostly women who were married to professional people who had what we call sometimes a gold-plated pension. So you can probably already see where the problem is. The people that were in that group were, yes, absolutely seniors, and seniors are the focus of this program, but they themselves were not a diverse group. And this is why representation matters. And that's where this phrase you keep hearing comes in. more diversity at this table was necessary. You can't focus just strictly on seniors because no person is just strictly one thing. What about the people who are disabled? What about the people of color? What about the people from poor means, like who are getting the meager Canada pension that we get in this country at 65? So here in Canada, we have a Canada pension that everybody gets at 65, but most people have some kind of work-related pension as well. The Canada pension really does not cover the bills. I know everybody thinks Canada, we've got that stuff sorted out. We really don't. We really need a lot of work on that. As much as this person was trying to be open, she really could not see where in the heck I was going with this. So it ended up being a long conversation where I had to sort of explain different intersections. This is also, in a way, a bit of a story about how far we've come, but how easy it is to forget how far we've come even in the last couple of decades. So she understood, okay, lots of seniors live in poverty, but so what? These seniors are willing to do this work for free so that the participants don't have to pay. And I said, yes, of course. And that's great. And we want that. As I've said before in my career many, many times and a couple of times on this channel, nobody wants access to fitness spaces and fitness educators to be socialized more than me. But she was really thinking of the end user. And I got to tell you, what really set off my alarm bells in all of this was that the organization she works for is getting paid. The people in her staff that are working on this and working on getting the funding for this from various levels of government are getting paid. Even the people who would teach these seniors to be fitness instructors are getting paid, but the fitness instructors themselves weren't getting paid. That was a huge red flag. And I explained to her, for example, it's only been about 15 years that we have had same-sex marriage legalized here in Canada. 15 or 16 this year. I forget now. Again, we forget how far we've come on things. So a lot of seniors who are LGBTQ+ probably couldn't transition or marry the spouse of the same sex or even find a spouse, period, because they weren't interested in dating opposite sex people by law. All the cumulative decade after decade benefits that come from having a legal marriage, the financial benefits, these folks didn't have. So I said, not only are you eliminating people who survive on the meager allowance from Canada pension, you're also probably eliminating any LGBTQ seniors who are neglected in senior care in general and who may not have had those other benefits, and they need the income. And then I gave her other examples. People who are disabled, particularly, again, historically, there weren't laws that made sure people with disabilities were employable. And a lot of people who were probably brilliant and probably wonderful employees didn't get jobs they should have because they had an obvious disability that rendered them unemployable in our society at the time. So again, they've only probably started getting a pension in the last decade or so before they retired. And then of course you look at people of color who've been kept out of higher promotions and higher paying positions, and again have faced discrimination in hiring practices and HR practices going back literally hundreds of years. All of these people are coming in not just as seniors who maybe don't have a gold-plated pension like the people that were sitting around this table, but other intersections have affected decades ago how much money they could make, which means their pensions today are lower than, again, the people that were sitting at that table making these initial decisions. The good news is after I went full teacher mode on this person and explained how all of these intersections work, not only did she finally understand what intersectionality meant, but she finally understood what representation matters meant, because she thought she had that and realized by the end of our chat that she really didn't, and has promised to work on that in the next couple of months as this project rolls out, possibly across the country. And that's how teachable moments work. I should probably do a video on that concept. And it's also, again, how intersectionality and representation matters are almost in a way kind of the same thing. And my other reason, of course, for telling you this is that you can read those definitions out of a textbook and they're dry and they're boring and they're a lot of jargon and really probably don't mean anything to a whole heck of a lot of people. So now that I've given you a real life example of how I've used that learning, you can see how it works and that it works, which is really the ultimate thing. So there you go, folks. Representation matters, but only if it's intersectional. Avoid tokenism. Again, I'll do a video on that sometime in the future. And as always, thank you so much for watching. Click some links and stuff down below. My intersectionality video is down there. I apologize for the lighting. That was before I got the lighting in this apartment sorted out for my videos. Oops. But hey, early days of my channel. I've come a long way, baby. And as always, lift heavy, fight the patriarchy, and I'll see you for the next one. Bye.